spin out. Yep. Oh, no problem at all. Whoa, the front wheel just came off the ground. Pretty darn impressive bike. Oh, I seen 33 there for a second. It does feel nice and smooth and natural though. And this suspension is fantastic. And of course, it's gorgeous out here as always. This is the Mokwheel Onyx ST. Onyx ST is this awesome off-road / hunting / camping style bike here, and it is full suspension with some nice 26 by 4 inch wheels, and we'll be reviewing this today. I'm Wyoming Rider, and I review electric bikes and other electric vehicles in the most rural state in the country, so come along with me on a new adventure. And I must say there's a lot to cover on this bike, but first let's start with the beautiful look of it. One that was sent to me come in this beautiful panda color, they call it. To me personally, if I was them, I would have named it Stormtrooper, but very cool looking paint job. This nice pearlescent white color and the black on the bottom. And as you can see right away, this is a mid-drive bike. Comes with this awesome truck run motor, and it is rated at 750 watts, so do 1,000 watts continuous, and it peaks at 1,300 watts. So we'll be testing all that out. And is said to have a 210 nanometers of torque, which is fantastic. Awesome bike does come in some other colors like the awesome desert camo color, which I would have loved to have, but I'm pretty happy with the Stormtrooper look there. Pretty cool. This comes with these nice 26-inch wheels by 4-inch fat tires, and these are Shaoyang branded tires. They do have the nice little reflective ring on them, and this does have a dual sensor set up on it. Inside of that mid-drive motor is a torque plus cadence sensor. It is not switchable, so don't mistake that for some other bikes I review where you could switch it back and forth between the cadence and the torque sensor. This has both sensors together. They work in unison. And it has a max weight load capacity of 350 pounds, but the bike itself only weighs 88 pounds, which is really hard to believe for such a giant bike, but man, it is fairly lightweight, and I'll show you here. It does have this nice grab handle behind the seat here. So if I do this, as you can see, it's not really that heavy. So like it says, the 88 pounds, that's really, really good for this size of a bike. Especially one with a mid-drive motor. And it's nice and balanced too because of this mid-drive motor. A lot of your weight's right here in the middle because your battery's here, integrated into the frame. I'll show you that in a second. And your motor's right here. All right, I grab my keys out of the accessory box there. Show you how this comes out of here. You put that key in there. You're gonna turn it. You'll see it drops down, and there's a little lever right here, and then that battery will come out. I'll show you the specs on the battery here. This is the model of it. I think it has another sticker on it. That's what I was looking for. Oh, here it is right here. And this is a 48 volt, 20 amp hour battery, and it does have a max voltage of 54.6 volts and a maximum discharge rate of 30 amp, and its maximum charge rate of 5 amp, and it has a total capacity of 962 watt hours of energy. You'll notice something different on this battery as well, and we'll get to that in the second video, but it has this special connector here as well as the normal connector that connects it to the bike. There's also, this is where the charge port is. That's a little glue on it there. And it has a maximum range, or what they see as the maximum range is up to 80 miles, but I guarantee you that's probably not going to happen here in this area, because I live in a very hilly area and I weigh 215 pounds. So keep that in mind. We'll test out the range, but yeah, I suspect here it's not going to get anywhere near that because I'll be riding around as fast as possible probably. So I want to show you the suspension here. It does have this nice full crown forks. I do believe these have a 135 millimeters of travel. And it does have a compression adjustment and a preload on the other side with lockout. Next, we're going to move up here to the brakes, and you'll see this has Tektro hydraulic brakes on the front and in the rear. And those are paired along with these 203 millimeter rotors on the front and rear as well. And also, I'll let you know these Tektro hydraulic brakes are 4-piston Tektro hydraulic. Outstanding. And for our rear suspension here, we have this awesome D&M rear shock here, and it's fully adjustable, and even has an air adjustment, and it tells you in the manual how much air to put it in the shock for your weight. So it recommended for my weight to put 165 pounds in it, and that's what I did. And I can say it feels really, really nice. I'm going to take you to the back of that shock, and I do believe this rear shock has 50 millimeters of travel, but I could be wrong there. It does come with this nice sturdy suspension set up here. I mean, that is really thick. It's not going anywhere. This should give us a little more leverage with that shock. Of course, it does come with this nice big giant kickstand there. Comes with these nice plastic fenders, and they are the adjustable kind, which I really like, so you can get them really nice and close to the tires there, where they look really nice. And these wheels on the front and the rear both have through axles. Really cool. You can see there, so should not have any worries there about your wheels coming off, which I'll take you around to this side now. And we do have this nice 10-speed, looks like a cassette there, and I'm not sure of all the gears, but I think this goes from 11 tooth there up to looks like 39. Just really good granny gear there. And trust me, I'll show you what this does when you put that thing in the first gear there. It's pretty crazy. But that is also coupled along with the Shimano Q's derailleur, which you don't see on a lot of bikes, but it is needed along with this nice mid-drive motor. And that also leads me up here to, this is the shifter that comes with that, nice trigger shifter with 10 speeds, which is also branded Shimano Q's. They give you this nice rubberized chain guard that you stick on the frame there. You put that on there yourself, but it is really nice that they give you that so they don't mess up your paint. This does have a front headlight here, and we'll show off this more in the night ride. This got like 2 lights in it and a little reflector. And for the rear, it does not have an integrated tail light, unfortunately, but they do supply you with this little battery powered one here, and I'll show you. And it has different modes. It does little flashing modes and all that stuff, and it is pretty darn bright in the dark. Like I said, I'll show you that off more in the night ride. They do give you some nice metal pedals, even pretty darn good. So it does come with this Mokwheel branded seat here, and it's nice and squishy. Kind of feels like it has gel in it, and it does have that handle in the back to help you pick up the bike. And something else to show you here, this is adjustable in 2 ways. You can do the normal adjustment to lift the seat up and down, but this also has this little lever for a dropper post, and it'll lift it up a small amount for you like that, so you can get better leg extension. And then you pull that again and you can push it back down, but it's kind of hard to do one-handed. So this does come with a Class 2 sticker. It says 750 watts, 20 mile an hour. And right above that, you have a couple of mounting points there for a water bottle holder, any other kind of accessory you want to add there. And you do have the charging port right here. If you want to charge the battery on the bike, you can do that. Or like I showed you earlier, when you take it out, you can also charge it that way. And it also has the second plug here. And what this is for is, I'll show you more of this in the second video, but this is your little hookup for that inverter system that Mokwheel has. Very cool feature. Comes with a 44 tooth chain ring in the front, and it does only have a single chain guard. It does not have one on the inside. You kind of wish they would have gave you a double one, but that's okay. So we should get pretty decent pedal resistance out of this bike. On the show, they did a really good job on the cable management, and they have it routed through the frame where it looks nice and neat. Always love to see that on these bikes. All right, next I'm going to take you up here to the cockpit. First, let's start with these nice ergonomic leather wrap grips, and they are dual locking. Has this nice little gel bubbles on them. Really comfortable when you ride. And we have a thumb throttle here on the left and our control panel. If you look over to the right, of course, we have our trigger shifter I showed you earlier, and we also have a bell integrated. And then you'll see this display, which is quite unique to this bike, and it is paired with this adjustable stem, which I'll kind of show you here. And as you see, you can adjust the stem here, and this display is all integrated into the stem. But it does look like the classic Mokwheel display if we turn it on here. And it shows you the speed, the pass level, the time the bike was on. It has a trip meter, and it also has some advanced features, which I'll show you here. You can see what I'm doing here. I want to hit the plus and minus, and this is going to take you to the advanced menu. And here you can do things like change the language. You can change your assist levels. And the way you get to the things you want, you hit this right turn signal, and it'll go into there. So you can make it have 3 pass levels or have 5 like it already has. And to get back, you hit the back turn signal or the left turn signal. And we hit minus to go down to the voltage. Of course, you don't want to change that. Down to the wheel diameter. It's like it's set to 29, and that should be really accurate. But we'll test that out. Put my phone holder and my phone on here, and we'll see how accurate the speedometer is. But it should be pretty accurate at 29. And you don't want to mess with your magnets. You can do a factory reset if you go in here and mess something up. You can just reset it and put it back to the default. And if you want to get out of this, you just hit that left turn signal. Takes you back out. Now, there's also a hidden menu, and this is also in the manual as well, so don't worry about, they do tell you how to do this. Anyway, to get into that one, you hit the right and left turn signals at the same time, and it takes you into a bunch more settings. First of all, it's going to be your brightness of the display, and right now you see it's set to automatic, and we're just going to leave it like that. You can change your units, which changes it between kilometers an hour or miles an hour. All right, next is the throttle speed, and this is also adjustable, but by default, the way the bike comes, this is limited to 20 mile an hour, as you see there. And if you do want to change that, I think I'll go ahead and do this. You just use that plus symbol there. Here, let's just make it something crazy, even though we know it is never going to do this, but you're going to change it up to 50 and you hit the power button to save it. Then you can also do the same thing in these assist speed levels. And I'm not going to touch the first 4 pass levels. We're going to leave those to the default, but let's go down here to 5. We're going to use our right turn signal to get in there, and you see it's by default limited to 28. But we're going to raise that up. Let's also set it up to like 50. And keep in mind, by me doing this, this is probably going to shorten the battery range as well, because we're going over its normal parameters. So we'll probably be lucky if we get 20 miles or 25 at the most. And the next setting is the intensity setting. So we're going to go down to it, and it is defaulted to 3 right there in the middle. But heck, you know me, let's go ahead and make that thing as fast as possible to you. It's probably going to be crazy. We'll find out. Same way, hit that power button to enter it. And then you also have the ride modes. I'm just going to leave it on both pedal and motor, but you can disable the throttle if you want, or the pedals, I guess. It does let you do either one. And next is the startup, and it's free mode or safe mode. I think the safe mode is you have to start using the pedals first, but yeah, we're going to leave it in free mode. Not going to change that. And the next thing is the fault check. So if you do have any kind of issues, you can go here and do some troubleshooting with that. See, right now there's no errors, so nothing to do there. And you can also reset your trip meter. Matter of fact, I probably should do that. Not that I never pay much attention to the trip meters on the back. Enter, now, as you see, resets our trip meter. We'll go back in there to make sure there's nothing else, but I'm pretty sure that was probably all of it. Nope, there is a password. You can set a password if you want on there. I'm not going to do that. And this shows you the version of the firmware it's running, which I don't think is going to do much for you, because I don't think they give you any way of updating that, so that I know of. But that is it. And if you hit your left turn signal, it'll take you back out. Do want to quickly mention to you, I did put the mirror on myself. That does not come with it. They do not give you mirrors, but that will lead me to the next part. I'm going to show you the accessories you get with this bike. All right, now I'm going to show the accessories you get with it. First, this is a manual for the shock. That is for the rear D&M shock that's on there. And of course, you have the manual for the bike. And next, you have the charger. And this is a 3-amp charger. Pretty nice. Just a little manual for the battery. And you get this nice little thank you letter from Mokwheel. That's pretty cool. Show you what it looks like. It says, "Welcome to the Mokwheel family." And it says, "Thank you for getting the Mokwheel." And next we have the keys for the battery. Do not need it to run the bike or anything like that. And you get the old manual pump. That's nice. They give you one, better than nothing. And you do get this cool little Mokwheel keychain. Probably use that to put my keys on there. And I think this is a mountain bracket for the front basket, which I do not have. But that is the mountain bracket. They do give you a few extra zip ties. And they also give you these tools you need to put it together with. And they also do give you some spare parts and some spare brake pads, which is really nice. Always like when they give you these. You never know. Sometimes you lose bolts or whatever. And there's also a screwdriver in there. And I think this is extra. I don't remember. I know this is an extra piece for one of them as well. This goes in the spare parts there. I don't remember exactly what it goes to, but I knew I've seen that when I was putting it together. All right. Next, I want to mention the price. This is not a cheap bike by any means. It's currently priced at $33.88, and I do believe I have a discount code. If I do, I will put it down in the description below along with my link. So if you do want one of these or any Mokwheel bike, please use my link and my discount code. That will definitely help out the channel, and I really appreciate it. It helps me to keep getting more of these wonderful bikes to review for you. And now we'll take this wonderful bike out for all the normal tests. I'll do the hill climb, the max speed test, and do some off-roading. And let's see how this awesome mid-drive bike performs. Also want to mention too, like if you don't like the price of this bike and you want to get one that looks like it, but it's a cheaper option, then drop down to the Obsidian. That is the hub motor version. And I think it is quite significantly less money, maybe almost $800,000 cheaper. So keep that in mind. All right. One other thing I wanted to show you before I take it out is what I look like sitting on it. Keep in mind I'm 5'10". I kind of got to stand on my tiptoes here. So this is a really tall bike. I do believe the minimum seat height of this bike is at 35 inches. So keep that in mind if you're a shorter rider. You might have a little difficulty getting on and off, but it is step through. But this step through is pretty narrow there. So as you can see, because I have a lot of back issues, that's why I prefer step throughs. You can at least step off of it that way. And I do have a little trouble getting my foot through there, but a lot easier than a step over. That is for sure. Anyway, just want to show you that. All right, now we're ready to take out the Mokwheel Onyx ST out for its first ride here. I have ridden it some previously just to kind of get used to this mid-drive, but this will definitely be the first I rode it since I've turned all the settings up, so we'll see how this does. It was already really torquey before, so especially in 1, so let's put it in pass 1, and actually I'm way up in the higher gears though. But anyway, get this thing going, and I'll meet you down there at the hill climb test. All right, now we're down here at the hill climb test. I'm going to try to start it out in the mechanical gear 1 at pass 5, and let's see what it does going up there throttle only, and I may have to shift it up on the way because it's probably going to limit the speed down pretty low there. All right, here we go. Whoa, the front wheel just came off the ground. Yeah, this thing has got crazy torque. Seems like it maxes out at 13, so we're going to go ahead and shift it up to gear 2. As you'll see, it'll do a pause as it shifts, so it protects the chain and the gearing there and the mid-drive motor. Looks like we need to probably shift it again. Yeah, it's climbing up here in 3 just fine. Yep, and it was still gaining speed the whole time. So yeah, it's definitely no problem climbing hills, that is for sure. Man, it even tries to lift up that wheel in gear 3 now at a 1065. But yeah, it totally lifted the wheel up on me. So next I'll meet you down there at the speed test area, and I'll take it from there. All right, we're going to bring up the car test app, and we'll try to do it with it here and get it out on the road. And we're going to start at about 5 here because I think it'll work just fine. I want to reset it because I moved a little bit. All right, let's get it started back up here, and throttle only. Here we go. As you see, it starts off in 5 just fine. And shift it up because it's going to be hard to get a really accurate test because you do have to shift these gears. It's time to shift again. Alright, it's 29. Looks like we reached 30, even though it hasn't registered. There it goes. 31. Now I think we're up in the max gear now. Nope, I still have one more. That was only in 9. And there's 32 on this speedometer. Oh, I seen 33 there for a second. I don't have to slow down going through these curves here. But yeah, that is with it completely unlocked. This is pretty darn impressive bike, I must say. It has some crazy torque, especially at the low end. You put it down in 1 and it will lift that front wheel off the ground, that's for sure. So if you're a skilled rider, you could probably wheelie this thing pretty easy. But I am not, so I'm not going to be doing that. So I can screenshot that 0 to 30 there. Because unfortunately it only does this in increments of 10, but we did get up to 33 is what I saw right before I slowed down. So it might possibly even go faster if we have a long enough runaway. That is pretty darn impressive. Great freaking bike so far. So it's not a cheap bike, but man, it works pretty darn well. That's the only downside of these mid-drives. You really need to remember to downshift. I didn't get it downshifted enough before I had to stop there. Oh man, see, that's the reason why right there. And I thought it had already shifted, but it didn't. Oh, that didn't sound good. That looked good. It didn't damage my chain, but yeah. I said I haven't had any experience in these mid drives, so this is the first one I've ever had. When you have these short roads here, and that is kind of a disadvantage because you don't have enough time to get them shifted back down. So I thought I did there, but nope. It waited till I stopped and then it shifted down. It does feel nice and smooth and natural though. All right, so let's keep going here. I'm gonna go up the big VA hill here. Let's see how it does up this. I'm on here and use the throttle to give me a little help there. We're still in gear 6. Let's see if it'll accelerate up the hill. Go ahead and switch it to 7. So we get an 8 up here. I'm up here doing about 20 or so. I don't want to push it too much. Well, 21. Go ahead and drop it back down a couple of gears because we're going to have to stop and turn up here. Like I said, I'm definitely no pro at these mid-drives, so keep that in mind. This is the first one I've ever had, so definitely am not the best at this. All right, let's take it to our little off-road area here. See how it does. I suspect it's going to do quite well on this. Oh yeah, this is like nothing. Go ahead and shift it back up some. Like riding on a cloud. You do see it shaking the front and end up there a little bit, but that's just the shocks doing their job. Front fender up there a little bit. That's what that noise is that you hear. Because this is a very rough road, and it's rougher sometimes more than others, and it's very rough today. So far, we've only went almost 5 miles there. We haven't went far yet, but looks like we're still at full battery bars. I mean, as we should be. Oh boy, even when you pedal this thing, it takes off. Said I'm just leaving it like in 5. You put it down in like 1 or 2, and it will lift that front wheel. That's with it at intensity 5. Down in 3, not so much. See how we can do on this, the torque sensor here. Climbing up the hill. Just did an upshift there. Seems like it doesn't always shift all the way up when it should, so and then you'll hear that chain jump a little bit. It's probably just me, but no expert at these mid-drives. But I do like it. It's a lot of fun. And the great thing with these torque sensors is you can just leave it up in pass 5, and if you're just pedaling like this, it's still going to go at a reasonable speed for the bike path. But that is one thing to note. If you leave it on the default setting with that throttle limited to 20, once it reaches 20, it will not go beyond that, even if you're pedaling. As long as you're holding that throttle down, you have to let go of it. Now, once you unlock it like I did, then it no longer does that anymore. Then you can just leave it and it'll keep accelerating, just like this. You can just do this, and it'll just keep going. Definitely would recommend unlocking that throttle though. Definitely gives you a much better experience. Here, we're going to stop here for a second, let you take another look. Yeah, it's a gorgeous day today, though. Yeah, there we go. Did it good that time. Sometimes my foot will get caught on this lever here, so keep that in mind. But wow, beautiful bike. I love the Stormtrooper colors, or Panda as they call it. Beautiful. And then it is got fantastic brakes, and we'll do a little brake test when we get back down there. But it's got this Tektro 4-piston and 203mm rotors. Yeah, great brakes. Beautiful bike. Stop here again. That was before I turned it up too. So let's put the kickstand down, and let's just see what the free spinning speed is. Shifting up here. Already going up 32. Wow, 36. Over 40, 42. You got one more gear. Wow, so the free spinning speed is 50.3. Wow, that is crazy. So yeah, let's get this shifted back down, and then we'll test it out down the hill. All right, go ahead, and that's the easy way you can shift it back down to you. So I just did that, shifted it back down. Got it down to about 4th right now. That should be good enough for us to take off here. And we'll just try to shift those gears up by the time we get to the bottom and see how fast we're going. But yeah, definitely very impressive bike. And we're just back on the bike path here. Yeah, this definitely works very well on the bike path. Yeah, you can, like I said, even leave it in pass 5 and just gently pedal along and do 14, 15, no problem. But we're going to go ahead and do the brake test this way. See if we can get up there. I don't want to go too fast, and I don't really try to avoid locking up the brakes, because man, it's just really rough on them when you do that. But here we go. Get up here. Yeah, we're running out of space. There we go. Didn't even lock it up. That's perfect. Fantastic brakes. I don't even know if it made any marks. Dope. Wow. But it did take about one and a half of that. But trust me, those brakes are fantastic. Tektro always makes excellent brakes. So yeah, trust me, no worries with the brakes. Those brakes work great, especially with these 203 millimeter rotors. It is ridiculous. Yeah, Spike is really good for this bike path riding. Here we get a chance to use our bell and these blind curves. Pretty nice bell. I like it. Oh yeah, see, this is where the torque sensor really shines, like this kind of riding. Just feels smooth and natural. All right, I went and got some pictures of the bike down here by the water. And then you can see this is a really steep hill here. And this has got to be probably 20% or better. It's really short, but hey, I put it all the way down in one. So let's see how it climbs out of here. Because most bikes I took down here could not. I had to push them out of here. Yeah, let's see how it does. I'm going to start out in one right here. And hopefully I can keep the front wheel down. Holy crap. Oh my God, no problem at all. That is where that torque shines. That's a 210 Newton meters torque right there. See what it does in this gravel. See if we can spin out. Yep. Oh, not even trying. Oh my God, this is so much fun. This is a great bike. May not be the cheapest bike, but it is a lot of fun. I'll see you back at my house. Alright, we figured I'd record this too. We're going to back up that steep hill or do the hill test. And I'm just kind of leaving it in, I think I said 4 to see if it even slows down any. Yeah, just barely. But I'm very impressed at how I climbed that little short steep hill back there in the dirt. I'm telling you, this bike is really, really good. All right, I made it back home here. It looks like maybe we've lost about one. I think that's only one battery bar, or maybe a couple there. It's hard to tell, there's so many. Really wished it had a voltage, but it doesn't. Anyway, just trying to see if there was a way I could flip through the modes there. No, this does the pass. Does this do anything? As you see, these blinker indicators turn on, but there's no turn signals on here. Anyway, we're at 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8 bars. So maybe we've lost 2. Anyway, so far we went 11.27 miles. Wow. So far our max speed has been 36.93 miles an hour. That is great. But of course, just keep in mind it was going down that slight hill. So, but it did do what, 33 out on the flat ground. So still pretty darn impressive, especially for this style of bike. It's pretty fast with a 48 volt battery. I mean, keep in mind, this isn't a 60 volt or even a 52. This is this 48 volt going that speed. So that's pretty impressive. These mid-drive motors are different, but they're also a lot of fun. Kind of want to see how hot it is. Oh, it's barely even warm. See, even after all that crazy riding I did, it's not even barely warm. Anyway, next I'll probably see you be out on the night ride, and I'll continue to ride it for the range after that. All right, so now I'm out here at night so we can test out the lights on the Mokwheel Onyx ST. All right, first let's go ahead and get it powered on. There we go. I'm gonna go ahead and turn the lights on here if I can find the button. There we go. There's our headlight. And of course, you know, this does not have an integrated tail light, so we have to turn it on. I'm gonna push it on the wrong side, I think. There's the button. There it is. And that's what it looks like by default. It does have different modes. Man, those lights, that light is very bright though. Very bright. Here, we'll put it on one of the, oh, that one's even brighter if you hit it again. Wow, pretty bright battery powered light. And there's one of the flashing modes. Yeah, there we go. We'll put it on that one. Everybody should be able to see that. First, my camera light came on. That's not my video. All right, here we go. Next, we'll take it out on the road and see how it looks on the road. All right, we're out here on the road. So, wow, somebody's flying down the road down there really fast. Anyway, whoa. I'm pretty scared. So it made that front wheel come off the ground. If I can go ahead and put it up at least 3 here. Yeah, light's not too bad. I think one thing, this mid-drive motor is more noisy than your typical gear hub motor, that's for sure. But that's to be expected. It is driving the chain, so you get that combination of the motor and the chain running. And just kind of left it like here in 3rd gear. This should be fast enough for this. Man, and it still like picked the front wheel off the ground even in 3rd gear. Not the worst light, not the best light. I've had the same headlight on some other bikes I have. And they're always decent lights. A little double light. This thing is torquey. Wow. And now, too, I'll also want to say, since I can see all the bars at night, I think we're at, let's see, 1, 2, 3, and we're at 8 bars. That could be full. I'm not really sure, to be honest. I'll look at our mileage here. So far, we've only went 11.84 miles, so yeah, that makes sense. It's still pretty full there. I'll take a look at this tail light one more time here. It says it's got a decent headlight. It will definitely do the job. Yeah, and that rear light is very visible. I do wish it was integrated, but it does work well, even though it's just a battery light. So next, I'll see you back out on the road. We'll try to run the rest of this battery down. Send you one tomorrow. See you then. All right, we're going to go back out today and try to finish this range test. It was really hot earlier, so I tried to wait till it cooled down a little bit. Anyway, we're starting off at 11.87 miles. This is a 20 amp hour battery, so we'll find out how far it goes. I hope it gets at least 20 miles, but I do have it turned beyond its normal parameters, so we will see. We're still at 8 bars right now, so I think we're doing quite well. We will find out. All right, I'm just gonna head up toward the dirt roads because do a little more off-road testing with this bike, because I think that's really where it's gonna shine at. All right, we're almost to the dirt road here. Somebody coming up here going down the wrong side of the road. Yeah, so far, this one's handling it really well. Oh yeah, doing a great job so far. Probably should downshift it some more. Yeah, there's a lot of traffic out here today for some reason. I don't want to get any further over because that's dangerous stuff over there. This might be the best one yet as far as out here on these dirt roads. And this suspension is fantastic. Now we're just coasting down the hill here. Watch that loose gravel here though, because it tends to get pretty deep on that side of the road over there. Everybody goes around here really fast and pushes it all over to the right side. Yeah, I'm not pedaling anything now. I'm 27 mile an hour, just coasting down the hill. I probably won't go too far down here because I don't know how far we're going to make it with this battery, but I like the way that was angled back there. And I can start to pedal a little bit again. Yeah, this bike handles this very, very well. Yeah, what great suspension, that's for sure. And of course, it's gorgeous out here as always. Now the trees are turning too, makes it even better. And we're almost down to the bottom of that giant hill. So I don't want to let this battery get too low because I got to climb back out of here. It's that really rough washboard stuff. Yeah, those are really big holes back there. Other than that, it feels great. I don't know why that rattles. The seat is decently comfortable as well. So stop out here maybe and do a little 360 filming. It's a beautiful area to do it in. Well, I just did a little 360 footage. I forgot to start this camera back up, unfortunately, but hopefully that'll give you some footage to enjoy from the beauty out here. And we're just going to turn around and going back because, yeah, I have, it has already dropped down to 4 bars now and it's definitely slowed down a lot. So I figure I better not push my luck too much because as most of these bikes, this one is no different. That second half always goes down quicker. Let's see what we're at right now. All right now we're at 17.18 miles. All right, see if I can get going here. Starting off with way too high a gear, really. But I'll give it a little help here. Anyway, I'll continue to ride on back, and then we'll check the miles when I get back home. All right, now we're starting that climb up the hill. Man, this is a really steep hill, so I am shifting this thing way down low. Try to give it all the help I can here. Slows me down some putting it down in that low gear, but I'm putting it all the way down in gear 1 there. This is a really steep hill. I'm sure if it was on a full battery, it'd be zipping right up here. Like I said, that it's definitely lost a lot of steam already. Down to 3 bars. We can just make it over this giant hill. It should be just fine. Just going up there about 12 miles an hour. Anyway, I'll see you back at the house.
Well, at least I made it back to the paved area. Still got 3 battery bars, so we're going to go the long way back around. One thing I did see, especially on that rough dirt road that I didn't care for so much, is when you hit some of those big bumps, it seems to like cut out. It's like the motor power cuts out. Not sure why that is, but it's just a brief second. It kind of cuts power and then it comes back. Anyway, this is something I figured I would mention, just so you're aware. Yeah, we're getting pretty near home here, but I just want to show you the turkeys right quick. Those are wild turkeys. Here we are at the hill where we started out. Got to make it up here. One last time. Down the 2 battery bars, and yeah, it's feeling pretty weak right now. Doesn't have much juice left. Yeah, throttle's not helping any. Pretty much mostly my power at this point. Well, we did make it back home, and it shows that it has 2 battery bars. And this trip meter says 23 miles, but I'm telling you, it's a liar, because yeah, it's out of power. It barely made it up that big hill. Barely made it up the little hill over here. Pretty much just me. But we did go a total of 23.42 miles. The max speed we did, it said, was 51.72, which, yeah, I think that was going down that one big hill that I went down. It was just coasting, though. Can't really count that. That's crazy, though. Man, but it did make it. So next I'll give you my final verdict on the Mokwheel Onyx ST.
Now it's time for me to give you my final thoughts so far on the Mokwheel Onyx ST. First, I gotta say, this is a really fun bike with a lot of low-end torque. Let's go over the positives and negatives I found so far. While the integrated display is a cool looking feature, I do wish I could adjust the screen angle independent of the stem. Next, I would recommend Mokwheel to offer higher end tires like the HEB Allscapes for the price point of this bike, as I think that would complete the premium feel and maybe justify its price more. Now for the positives. This bike looks very nice. The paint job is superb. The 10 speeds are so nice to have, especially in a mid-drive motor. This frame is sturdy and stable, and the best feature of this bike in my opinion is the suspension. It works very well and provides smooth ride even over rough terrain. I also love the handle grips, they are very comfortable. Another awesome feature is a special plug for the inverter and the solar charging feature, which I will show in detail in the second video. The ease of adjusting settings and display was another great feature, and it made the bike so much more fun to ride. Who is this bike best for? Definitely for hunters, trail riders, anyone who loves the outdoors, but it would also work just fine in the city as well. Now, the big question, would I recommend this bike? For those who love mid-drive motors, yes, but to the average e-bike rider, I have a hard time recommending the Onyx over the Obsidian 2.0. The Obsidian 2.0 is pretty much the same bike, but with a geared hub motor. And hub motors are just generally easier to operate, require much less gear shifting and chain maintenance. The other thing to consider is if the chain breaks, you aren't going anywhere with a mid-drive. But with a hub motor, just pull that chain off and throttle on home. Currently the Onyx ST is priced at $33.88. And the Obsidian ST 2.0 is priced at $23.99. Both are great bikes, so I'll let you decide. Thank you so much for coming along in today's adventure. If you would like the Onyx ST or any other Mokwheel bike, please check out my link in the description below or use my coupon code JGMW50 to save $50 off. And please like, subscribe, and share this video with others. And I'll see you in the next one.